If you ever take an Uber late at night and notice the driver isn't following the GPS route, pay attention to whether they're taking you somewhere new or somewhere you've already been. Because sometimes the destination isn't a place, it's a moment. And some moments are designed to repeat forever. I wish someone had told me that before November 9th, 2023, when I requested a ride home from downtown Seattle and ended up in a loop I'm still not sure I ever escaped. I'm a software engineer. I work with algorithms, debugging, and logical problem solving. I understand how systems work, how code executes, how patterns emerge from data. What I'm about to tell you shouldn't be possible according to everything I know about causality and linear time. But I have the Uber app showing 17 identical trips, all on the same night, all with the same driver, all ending the same way. I'd been working late. Again. Startup culture meant 60-hour weeks were normal, expected, celebrated even. It was 11:47 p.m. when I finally shut down my workstation and headed for the elevator. The office was on the 14th floor of a building in Pioneer Square, the historic district, brick and iron and streets that still had the old railroad tracks embedded in the pavement. Beautiful during the day, slightly unsettling at night when the tourists were gone and the streets belonged to whoever was left. I opened my Uber app, requested a ride. The app showed a driver 3 minutes away, a gray Honda Civic, driver name, Marcus, 4.98 star rating, over 5,000 trips completed, reliable, professional, perfect. The app pinged. Marcus is arriving now. I walked outside. The November air was cold, damp, that particular Seattle dampness that goes through your coat and settles into your bones. The street was empty, no cars, no pedestrians, just streetlights casting pools of yellow illumination across wet pavement. Then I saw headlights. A gray Honda Civic turning the corner, pulling up to the curb exactly where I stood. I checked the license plate against the app. Perfect match. I opened the back door, got in. Heading to Capitol Hill? The driver asked. Male voice, maybe 40. Pleasant, professional. That's right. The address is in the app. I see it. Should be about 15 minutes this time of night. He pulled away from the curb, merged into non-existent traffic, started heading north. I relaxed, pulled out my phone, started scrolling through work emails, the usual post-midnight routine. One more check before bed, one more scan for urgent issues, one more... Excuse me, the driver said. Do you mind if I take a different route? There's construction on the usual path. This way is actually faster. I looked up. We were heading west, away from Capitol Hill, toward the waterfront. Sure, whatever's fastest. Appreciate it. We drove in silence. I went back to my phone. Didn't pay attention to the route, didn't watch the streets, trusted the GPS, trusted the system, trusted that drivers knew better than passengers about the quickest path. 5 minutes passed. Then I noticed something. We were passing my office building again. The same building I just left, the same entrance, the same streetlights. I think we're going in a circle. Sorry? We just passed my office, the place you picked me up. We've looped back. The driver glanced in the rearview mirror. I saw his eyes for the first time. Dark, flat, like looking into a photograph instead of a living person. No, sir. We're heading north, toward your destination, Capitol Hill. But I just saw my building. We passed it. That wasn't your building? Similar architecture, maybe. Lots of brick buildings in Pioneer Square. I looked out the window, tried to orient myself. But the streets all looked the same now. Wet, empty, lined with historic buildings that could have been anywhere in the district. Maybe I'd been mistaken. Maybe exhaustion was making me see things. 60-hour work weeks did that. Played tricks on your perception. Made the familiar seem strange. Sorry, long day, I must have been confused. No problem. Happens all the time. People get disoriented at night, especially in this area. All the streets look similar. We continued north, or what I thought was north. The GPS on my phone showed we were making progress, the little car icon moving along the blue route line. ETA. 11 minutes. Everything seemed normal. Then we passed my office building again. Stop the car. Sir? Stop the car, right now. We just passed the same building for the second time. The driver pulled over. Put the car in park, turned to look at me. I assure you, we haven't passed any building twice. We're following the GPS, taking you to your destination. I don't understand why you're upset. I showed him my phone, the Uber app. Look, the GPS shows we should be here, halfway to Capitol Hill. But we're not. We're back at Pioneer Square. We've driven in a circle. He looked at my screen, then at his own phone, mounted on the dashboard. My GPS shows we're exactly where we should be, en route, making normal progress. But his GPS showed something different from mine. His showed us on a straight path north. Mine showed us having traced a perfect loop. Back to the starting point. Our apps don't match. That's not possible. We're using the same system, same satellites, same routing algorithm. Then explain why they're showing different routes. He studied both screens, confusion crossing his face, genuine confusion, like he was seeing something that violated his understanding of how the system worked. I don't know, he admitted. This has never happened before. Just take me home, straight north. Don't deviate, don't take alternative routes, just follow the main roads. Okay, yes, I'll do that. He pulled back into traffic, headed north. I watched every turn, every street sign, every landmark, making sure we weren't looping back. We passed the Seattle Public Library. Good. That was north. That was progress. We passed Westlake Center. Better. Further north. Closer to home. We passed my office building for the third time. I need you to understand something before I continue. I'm not prone to panic. I solve problems for a living, debug code, find errors in complex systems. I approach anomalies logically, methodically, rationally. But sitting in that car, watching the same building appear for the third time, logic was failing me. What the hell's happening? The driver was gripping the steering wheel, knuckles white. I don't know. I'm driving straight, following the GPS. I haven't turned around. I haven't circled back. I'm going north. But we keep ending up in the same place. That's impossible. And yet, he pulled over again. This time he got out, walked around the car, looked at the street signs, looked at the buildings, looked at his phone, looked at the sky, trying to orient himself, trying to understand. He got back in. This is First Avenue. We're on First Avenue heading north. That's correct. That's where we should be. But somehow we keep ending up back at Pioneer Square. Yes. We sat in silence, both of us staring at our phones, at the conflicting GPS data, at the impossible loop we seemed to be caught in. What do you want to do? He asked. Try again. But this time I'll navigate. I'll tell you where to turn. We'll ignore the GPS completely. Okay. He started driving. I watched the streets, called out turns. Right here. Left at the next light. Straight through this intersection. We were doing it, breaking the pattern, taking a different route, a manual route, human navigation instead of algorithmic guidance. We made it 6 blocks. Further than before. I started to feel hopeful, started to believe we'd solved it, broken whatever glitch was causing the loop. Then I saw the streetlight, the specific streetlight outside my office building, the one with the slight flicker, the one I'd noticed when I first got in the car. We were back. 4th time. This isn't possible, the driver said. His voice was shaking now, fear creeping in. I drove exactly where you told me. I made the turns you called out. We should be miles away by now. I know. So how are we back here? I don't know. He grabbed his phone. I'm calling Uber support. This has to be a system error, a GPS malfunction, something they can fix. He dialed, waited. The phone rang and rang and rang. No answer. He tried again. Same result, just ringing. Like the support center was empty. Abandoned, like we were the only people in the entire network. What time is it? I asked. He checked his phone. 11:47 p.m. I checked mine. That's the time I requested the ride. That's the time you picked me up. So? So we've been driving for at least 20 minutes, maybe 30. The time should have changed. He stared at his phone, the digital clock display. Frozen, stuck, showing 11:47 p.m., not advancing, not updating, just stopped. This is a dream, he said. This has to be a dream, or a hallucination, or we're stuck, caught in some kind of loop, temporal, spatial, I don't know. But we keep returning to the same moment, the same location, the same 11:47 p.m. That's insane. Is it? Look at the evidence. Look at what's happening. We need to accept this is real, and we need to figure out how to break it. We tried everything. Different routes, different speeds, stopping completely and waiting, driving in reverse, getting out and walking, calling for help. Nothing worked. Every attempt ended the same way. Back at my office building, back at 11:47 p.m., back at the beginning. After the ninth loop, we stopped trying to escape, started trying to understand. Why us? The driver asked. Why this ride? Why this specific moment? Maybe it's not about us. Maybe it's about the location, or the time, or some combination of factors that created, I don't know, a glitch in reality. You sound like you're debugging code, because that's what this feels like. A bug. An infinite loop in a program. We need to find the break condition, the thing that exits the loop. And what if there isn't one? What if this is permanent? I didn't want to consider that. Didn't want to think about being trapped forever in the same 15-minute ride, the same failed journey home, the same realization over and over that we couldn't escape. On the 10th loop, I noticed something new. A homeless man sitting on the corner, same position, same cardboard sign, every loop. Have you seen that guy before? The driver looked. Yeah, he's always there. Every night when I drive through Pioneer Square. Does he ever move? Ever change position? I don't know. I never pay that much attention. On the 11th loop, I watched the homeless man carefully. He didn't move, didn't shift, didn't even breathe as far as I could tell. He was completely static, frozen, like a statue, like a background element in a video game. He's not real, I said. What? The homeless man. He's not real. He's part of the loop, part of the scenery. Everything outside this car, it might not be real. The driver looked around, at the empty streets, at the buildings, at the streetlights. You think this is, what? A simulation? I think this is a moment that's been isolated, cut out from the normal flow of time, and everything in it has been preserved, except us. We're the only things still conscious, still aware, still trying to move forward. But why? Why would this happen? I don't know, but I think the answer isn't out there. It's in here, in this car, in this specific Uber ride. On the 12th loop, I started asking the driver questions, personal questions, trying to understand if there was something about him, something about me, something about our connection that had triggered this. How long have you been driving for Uber? 3 years, since my wife died. Needed something to fill the time. Keep me busy at night when the house feels too empty. I'm sorry. It's okay. Well, it's not okay. But I'm managing. The driving helps. Gives me purpose. Connection to people, even if it's just brief conversations and trips across the city. Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions? Like you're stuck in a routine that never changes? He was quiet for a moment. Every day, every night, same routes, same streets, same conversations. I pick people up, drop them off. They go on with their lives. I go back to waiting for the next ping, the next ride, the next temporary connection. Like a loop. Yeah, exactly like a loop. And suddenly I understood. This wasn't a random glitch. This wasn't a GPS malfunction or a temporal anomaly. This was something else, something intentional, something that fed on routine, on repetition, on people caught in cycles they couldn't break. We need to change something, I said. Not the route, not the driving. Something about us, about this interaction. We need to make this ride different from every other ride you've ever given. How? I don't know. But the loop started because this felt like every other ride. Generic, transactional. Neither of us really present. Just going through the motions. Maybe we need to actually connect. Actually be here. Actually break the pattern of detachment. On the 13th loop, we talked. Really talked. I told him about my job, my burnout, my growing sense that I was wasting my life optimizing at algorithms for a startup that would probably fail. He told me about his wife, his grief, his fear that he was forgetting what her voice sounded like. We shared, connected, became real to each other instead of just passenger and driver, human beings instead of roles. And for the first time, we made it past my office building. We continued north. The GPS showed progress, real progress. The time changed. 11:51 p.m., 11:53 p.m., 11:56 p.m. We were breaking free. I felt hope, genuine hope. We'd figured it out, solved the puzzle, connected enough to break the loop. We were 3 blocks from my apartment when he said, "Thank you for talking, for listening, for making this ride mean something." Thank you too. I needed this. Needed to be reminded that I'm more than just a code monkey burning myself out for stock options. What are you going to do different after this? I don't know. Maybe quit, maybe travel, maybe just stop accepting that misery is normal. Stop living in loops of my own making. He smiled. A real smile. That sounds good. I might do the same. Stop hiding in this car. Stop avoiding my grief by drowning it in endless rides. We pulled up to my building, Capitol Hill, my actual destination, after 13 attempts, after hours trapped in the same moment, after finally breaking through. We made it, I said. Yeah, we did. I got out, grabbed my bag, turned to thank him one more time. And that's when I saw it. The look on his face, not relief, not happiness. Something else, something knowing, something sad. "I'm sorry," he said. "For what?" "For not telling you earlier, for letting you hope." "What are you talking about?" He pointed at his phone, at the Uber app, at the time display. 11:47 p.m. We were back. Back at the beginning. Back at Pioneer Square, back in the loop. But I was still at my building. Still standing on the sidewalk. Still 3 miles from where the loop should have reset us. "I don't understand." "The loop doesn't end," he said. "It never ends. You can break free, but I can't. I'm the driver. I'm the one who's actually stuck. You were just borrowed. Temporarily caught because you got in my car, but now you're out. You're free. But I'll go back. Pick up the next passenger. Drive the same route. End up back at the beginning. Over and over. Forever. This is my loop. My punishment. My eternal ride." "For what?" "For the accident. The one that killed my wife. I was driving. Distracted. Checking my phone. I ran a red light and she died. I survived. Walked away without a scratch. And now I'm here. Driving. Forever. Trying to get people home safely. Trying to make up for the one trip that went wrong." He started driving away, leaving me standing there. "Wait," I called. "How do I help you? How do I break your loop?" He didn't answer. Just drove. Turned the corner. Disappeared. I checked my Uber app. The trip showed as completed. 5-star rating requested. Normal fare charged. Like nothing unusual had happened. I went inside. Went to bed. Tried to convince myself it had been exhaustion, hallucination, stress-induced confusion. But the next morning, I checked my trip history. 17 completed rides, all from the previous night, all picked up at 11:47 p.m., all with the same driver, Marcus, all ending at my apartment, 17 loops, 17 resets, 17 attempts to break free, and every trip showed 5 stars. Every trip showed the same route. Every trip looked identical except for one thing: the tip amounts. They increased. $1, $2, 5, 10, 20, climbing with each loop. Like I'd been getting more generous, more grateful, more aware that something wasn't normal. I tried to find Marcus, searched for his profile in the app, but he didn't exist. No driver by that name, no gray Honda Civic, no 5,000 completed trips, like he'd been erased, or like he'd never existed outside that loop. But I know he's still out there, still driving, still picking up passengers late at night, still trying to get them home safely, still trapped in his eternal punishment. And sometimes, late at night when I request an Uber, I see a gray Honda Civic appear on the map, driver name, Marcus, 3 minutes away. I always cancel, always find a different ride, always avoid the loop. But I wonder about the people who don't cancel, the people who get in, the people who become temporarily trapped in his endless journey. Do they figure it out like I did? Do they break free? Or do they ride forever, stuck in the same 15 minutes, slowly losing themselves to the repetition? I don't know, and I'm not brave enough to find out. What would you do if you picked up an Uber passenger who knew things about you they shouldn't know? Personal things, private things, things you'd never told anyone. I used to think I'd handle it rationally, ask questions, demand answers, maybe end the ride. I was wrong. I'm an Uber driver in Austin, Texas. Been doing this for 2 years, 15 to 20 rides a night, mostly routine, mostly forgettable. Pick up, drop off, rate, repeat, until October 27th, 2023, when I picked up a passenger who'd been in my car before. Many times before, even though I'd never seen her until that night. It had been a slow Friday. Halloween weekend meant most people were either at parties already or planning to drive themselves. By 10 p.m., I'd only completed 8 rides, barely enough to cover gas. I was parked near the University of Texas campus, waiting for a ping, scrolling through my phone, debating whether to call it a night. Then the app chimed. Ride request, 2 miles away. Pick up at a residential address off Guadalupe Street. Destination, downtown Austin. About a 15-minute ride. Good enough. I accepted. Started driving. The app showed passenger name, Sarah, no profile picture, 4.9 star rating as a passenger. Nothing unusual. I pulled up to a small house, modest, well lit. The kind of rental place students shared, 3 or 4 to a house to split the cost. The front door opened. A woman stepped out, mid-20s, blonde hair, wearing jeans and a green jacket, carrying a small purse. She walked to my car, opened the back door, got in. Downtown Austin? I confirmed. Yes, 6th Street, the corner of 6th and Brazos. Got it. I started driving, pulled up my navigation. The route was straightforward. Guadalupe to MLK, MLK to Congress, Congress to 6th. Simple, direct, nothing complicated. Busy night, she asked. Not really. Halloween weekend is usually slow. Everyone either drives themselves or stays at one location all night. That makes sense. Less money for you, though. Yeah, but it's okay. I'll make it up on Sunday when everyone's hungover and needs rides home. She laughed. You always say that. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Sorry? You always say you'll make it up on Sunday. That's your standard response when Friday's slow. I don't think we've met before. Haven't we? She met my eyes in the mirror. Are you sure about that, Daniel? My skin went cold. I hadn't told her my name. The app showed drivers' names, but I was careful never to introduce myself. Never made it personal. Just professional distance. Polite, but detached. How do you know my name? You told me, the first time I took a ride with you. I don't remember you, and I'm pretty good with faces. Are you? What about the woman you picked up last Tuesday? The one going to the airport? Do you remember her face? I thought about it, tried to recall. Drew a blank. No. What about the man on Wednesday? The one going to the grocery store? No. What about any of them? Any of the passengers from this week? Can you picture their faces? Describe them. She was right. I couldn't. They all blurred together. Generic. Forgettable. Just bodies taking up space in my car for brief journeys before disappearing back into their own lives. That's what I thought, she said. You don't remember me because you don't remember any of us. We're just transactions to you, fares, ratings, temporary inconveniences between you and whatever else you'd rather be doing. That's not fair. I'm polite, professional, I get good ratings. You get good ratings because you're efficient, not because you're memorable, not because you connect. You exist in a space of perfect politeness and complete emotional absence. I didn't know what to say. This was the weirdest conversation I'd ever had with a passenger. And I'd had some weird ones. Drunk college kids, angry couples fighting, people having breakdowns. But this was different. This felt targeted, personal. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been watching you, riding with you, testing you, trying to figure out if you're even capable of actually seeing the people you drive. That's creepy. Is it? You spend hours every day with strangers in intimate proximity, them in your back seat, you controlling where they go, how fast, what route. You have power over them, control. And yet you don't even register them as human beings, just pings on an app. We drove in silence for several minutes. I was uncomfortable, unsettled, wanted the ride to end, wanted her out of my car. But something stopped me from ending it early. Something about what she'd said. About not remembering passengers. About treating them as transactions instead of people. It was true. I knew it was true. And knowing someone had noticed, someone had been paying attention to my detachment. It disturbed me. What do you want? I asked. I want you to remember me. Really remember me. Not just as a passenger, as a person. As someone who exists beyond this 15-minute interaction. Why? Because if you can't see me as real, then maybe I'm not. Maybe none of us are. Maybe we only exist in these brief moments when we're in your car, and the moment we step out, we disappear, cease to exist, until the next time we're needed. The next time someone requests a ride, and the algorithm decides we should be the passenger who appears. That's insane. Is it? Think about it, Daniel. Really think. Do you remember where any of your passengers came from? What they did before getting in your car? Where they went after getting out? Or do they just appear when you accept the ride and vanish when you complete it? I wanted to argue, to prove her wrong, but I couldn't. She was right. Passengers were just beginning and end points, pickup and destination. The space between was the only reality, their lives before and after. I never thought about it, never considered it. We're NPCs, she said, non-player characters, background elements in your game. We have scripted lines, programmed destinations, limited interactions, and when you're done with us, we despawn. Stop rendering, cease to exist. Stop. This is ridiculous. Then prove me wrong. Tell me about a passenger, any passenger, from any time in the last 2 years. Tell me their name, their face, where they were going, what they talked about. Make them real. Make them exist beyond a star rating and a fare. I couldn't. Tried to think, tried to remember. But they were all generic, all the same. All blurred into one endless stream of temporary humans who existed only in the backseat of my car. That's what I thought, she said. We were halfway to her destination, stopped at a red light on Congress Avenue. The Texas State Capitol building was visible ahead, illuminated, beautiful. A landmark that actually felt real, permanent, unlike the passengers who flickered in and out of existence. What happens if I do remember you? I asked. What changes? Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Maybe I become real. Or maybe you just become more present, more aware, more capable of actually experiencing the world instead of just driving through it on autopilot. The light changed. I started driving. Tell me about yourself, I said. If you want me to remember you, help me. Give me something to hold on to. She was quiet for a moment. Then, "My name is Sarah. I'm 26. I work as a veterinary technician. I have a cat named Pixel. I love horror movies, but hate horror books because my imagination makes them worse than they are. I'm afraid of deep water because I almost drowned when I was 7, and I've been taking Uber rides with you specifically for the past 3 months, requesting you, waiting for you, trying to get you to notice me. Why me? Because you were the first driver who completely forgot me. First ride we shared, I told you about my cat. Second ride, 2 days later, I mentioned Pixel again. You asked me what my cat's name was. You'd forgotten. Completely. Even though we'd discussed it 48 hours earlier. That's when I knew. That's when I understood how absent you were. I drive a lot of people. I can't remember everyone. You don't remember anyone. That's the point. You've created a life where nothing sticks, where nothing matters, where you're so disconnected that people literally fade from your memory the moment they leave your car." She leaned forward. I could see her face clearly now in the rearview mirror. "Do you even remember why you started doing this? Why you became a driver?" I opened my mouth to answer, then stopped. Because I didn't remember. Couldn't recall the decision. Couldn't picture the moment I'd signed up, downloaded the app, started accepting rides. It felt like I'd always been doing this, like I'd never had it before. Just endless now. Just eternal driving. Just permanent impermanence. "You're scaring me," I admitted. "Good. Fear means you're present, means you're actually experiencing something instead of just processing it. Stay scared, Daniel. Stay aware, because the moment you slip back into autopilot, the moment you stop being present, you'll forget me again, and I'll cease to exist. Again." We reached 6th Street, the entertainment district, bars and clubs and restaurants, crowds of people, music, life, chaos, the opposite of the quiet isolation of driving. I pulled to the curb at 6th and Brazos, the destination, the end point. We're here. Sarah didn't move, didn't reach for the door handle, just sat there, looking at me in the mirror. "Do you remember me now? Really remember me?" Yes, Sarah, veterinary technician, cat named Pixel, horror movies, fear of deep water, 3 months of rides. I remember. "Will you still remember tomorrow, next week, next month? Or will I fade again, become generic, become another forgotten passenger in an endless stream?" "I'll remember, I promise." She smiled, sad, knowing. "You shouldn't make promises you can't keep, but thank you for trying." She opened the door, started to get out. Wait," I said. "How do I contact you if I want to prove I remember?" "You can't. I don't exist outside these rides. I told you. I'm an NPC. I only render when the algorithm decides you need a passenger, when someone requests a ride and I'm the one who appears." "That's not true. You have a job, a cat, a life." "Do I? Or do I just have a programmed backstory? Details designed to make me seem real. You can't verify any of it. Can't visit my workplace. Can't meet my cat. Can't see my home. All you have is what I tell you. And what I tell you only exists in this moment. In this car. In this interaction." She stepped out, closed the door, walked toward the crowds on 6th Street. I watched her go, watched her blend into the masses, watched her become indistinguishable from everyone else. Just another person, just another body, just another temporary existence. Then she was gone, disappeared into the crowd, ceased to be visible. I completed the ride, rated her 5 stars. The app asked if I wanted to leave a compliment. I selected great conversation. Then I sat there, in my car, on 6th Street, trying to hold on to the memory, trying to keep Sarah real, trying to remember her face, her voice, her words. Already it was fading, the details blurring, the specifics losing definition, like sand slipping through fingers, like water evaporating, like she'd been right, like she only existed in the moment. And now that the moment was over, my phone pinged. New ride request, 2 blocks away. Pick up on 7th Street, destination, East Austin. I accepted, started driving, picked up the next passenger, a man, college-aged, drunk, friendly, talkative. I smiled, was polite, professional, efficient, forgot him the moment he got out. 3 weeks later, I got another ride request. Same name, Sarah, same pickup location, same destination. I accepted immediately. Drove faster than I should have. Pulled up to the house. She got in. Same blonde hair, same green jacket, same small purse. Downtown Austin? I confirmed. Yes, 6th Street, the corner of 6th and Brazos. I remember you, I said immediately. From 3 weeks ago. Same route. We talked about passengers, about memory, about existence. She looked at me, blank, confused. I'm sorry. Have we met before? My heart sank. Yes. You told me your name is Sarah. You work as a veterinary technician. You have a cat named Pixel. You're afraid of deep water. You've been riding with me for months trying to get me to notice you, to remember you. She laughed nervously. I think you have me confused with someone else. This is my first time requesting you specifically. I usually just take whoever the app assigns. But you told me. You explained everything about NPCs, about forgetting, about only existing in these moments. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you feeling okay? Do you want me to request a different driver? I stared at her in the rearview mirror, studied her face, tried to find recognition, tried to find proof that she was the same Sarah, the same person, the same passenger who'd revealed the truth about my existence. But she looked at me like I was a stranger, like she'd never seen me before, like our previous conversation had never happened. Two possibilities. Either she was lying, pretending not to remember to make some point, to test me, to see if I'd hold on to the memory even when she denied it, or she really didn't remember. Wasn't the same Sarah. Was a different iteration, a different version rendered for this specific ride, similar but not identical, close but not the same. An NPC with the same model but a different instance, a new copy with no memory of previous interactions. I'm fine, I said. Sorry, long day, let's get you downtown. We drove in silence. She played with her phone. I focused on the route. Neither of us spoke. When we reached 6th Street, she got out, thanked me, closed the door, disappeared into the crowd. I completed the ride. 5 stars. No compliment. And this time I didn't try to remember, didn't fight the fading, didn't struggle to keep her real. Because maybe she was right. Maybe they all were NPCs. Maybe they did only exist in the moments I needed them. Rendered by the algorithm, spawned by the app, given just enough detail to seem real, but not enough to be real. And maybe I was an NPC too. Maybe I only existed to drive, to transport, to facilitate these brief connections before despawning back into non-existence, waiting for the next ping, the next request, the next temporary purpose. I drove for 6 more months after that, picked up hundreds of passengers, thousands maybe, smiled, was polite, professional, efficient, never tried to remember their names, never tried to make them real, never tried to hold on to the interactions beyond the moment. Because if they were NPCs, if they only existed in these brief journeys, then trying to remember them was pointless, painful, like trying to hold water in a sieve, like trying to preserve something that was designed to disappear. Then, on April 15th, 2024, I picked up Sarah again. Same name, same location, same destination, 3rd time. I didn't mention our previous rides, didn't ask if she remembered, didn't try to test whether she was real or rendered, just drove. Polite, professional, detached. We were halfway to downtown when she said, "You've given up." I glanced in the mirror. Sorry? You've given up trying to remember, trying to make us real. I can see it, the way you look at me, like I'm already fading, like I'm already gone. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. Last time we spoke, the first time, I told you about being an NPC, about only existing in these rides, and you fought it, tried to remember me, tried to prove I was real. But now you've accepted it, embraced it, joined us in our temporary existence. Maybe that's healthier. Maybe trying to hold on to something designed to fade was the mistake. Or maybe giving up is the mistake. Maybe we only exist because you've stopped believing we're real. Maybe your perception creates our reality. And when you stop trying to remember us, we stopped being capable of being remembered. That doesn't make sense, doesn't it? Think about quantum mechanics, observer effect. Things exist in superposition until observed, measured, interacted with. Maybe people are the same. Maybe we're all in superposition, both real and unreal, both permanent and temporary. And it's your observation, your attention, your belief that collapses the wave function, makes us solid, makes us real. So you're saying if I believe you're real, you become real. I'm saying if you actually see me, actually remember me, actually treat me as a persistent being instead of a temporary render, then maybe I persist. Maybe I continue existing beyond this ride, beyond this moment. She leaned forward. Try, please, one more time. See me. Really see me. Make me matter. Make me last. I looked at her in the mirror. Really looked. Tried to see beyond the generic features, beyond the blonde hair and green jacket, beyond the role of passenger. Tried to see the person, the human, the persistent consciousness that existed before getting in my car and would exist after getting out. Sarah, veterinary technician, cat named Pixel, horror movies, deep water fear, 3 rides across 6 months, same route, same destination, same plea to be remembered, to be real, to matter. I saw her, locked her in my memory, committed every detail, every word, every nuance. I see you, I said. I remember you. You're real. She smiled. Am I? Or am I just another instance, another copy? How do you know I'm the same Sarah from before? I don't. But I'm choosing to believe you are. Choosing to treat you as continuous, as persistent, as real. Why? Because the alternative is unbearable. The idea that everyone I meet is temporary, disposable, forgettable. That's not a world I want to live in. That's not a person I want to be. We reached downtown, 6th and Brazos. The same corner, the same destination, always the same destination. She got out, stood on the sidewalk, looked back at me through the window. Will you remember me tomorrow? Yes. Will you remember me next week? Yes. Will you remember me when I request another ride? When the algorithm spawns me again? When I appear in your backseat like I've done 3 times before? Yes, I'll remember. Every version, every instance, every iteration. I'll remember them all. And I'll treat them all as you, as continuous, as real. She smiled. Thank you, Daniel, for seeing me, for making me matter, for choosing belief over despair. She walked away, blended into the crowd, disappeared. I completed the ride, 5 stars. Compliment, great conversation. Then I drove home, parked, went inside, wrote down everything I remembered about Sarah, every detail, every word, every moment, creating a record, creating proof, creating persistence. Because if I could hold on to her, if I could make her last beyond the moment, then maybe she was right. Maybe my observation created reality. Maybe my memory made her real. Or maybe I was just a driver, alone in a car, trying to find meaning in brief encounters with strangers who would forget me as quickly as I'd forgotten them. Either way, I remember Sarah. I still remember her, every detail, every word, every version. And sometimes, late at night when I'm driving, I see her name appear on a ride request, same location, same destination, same Sarah requesting another ride. I always accept, always pick her up, always drive the same route, always have the same conversation, and every time, every single time, I wonder, is this the same Sarah or a new one? Is she continuous or just another instance? Does it matter? If I treat her as real, if I remember her, if I make her matter, Does the truth of her existence change anything? I don't know. But I keep accepting the rides, keep driving the route, keep remembering, keep believing. Because the alternative is being alone in a car full of ghosts, surrounded by people who only exist in moments, who flicker in and out of reality, who leave no trace, who matter to no one. And I refuse to be that person anymore, refuse to be that driver, refuse to live in a world where nothing persists and no one matters. So I remember. I remember Sarah. I remember all of them, every passenger, every ride, every moment, real or rendered, continuous or instanced, permanent or temporary. They all matter. They all exist. They all persist. Because I choose to remember them. Last night I picked up Sarah again, fourth time, maybe fifth. I've lost count. She got in, smiled, said she remembered me too, remembered our previous rides, all of them, every conversation, every moment. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she's always been the same Sarah, continuous, real, persistent. Or maybe she's learned to lie, to pretend, to tell me what I need to hear to keep believing. I don't know which possibility terrifies me more.